Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of something you could or couldn't find interesting, the United States is banning a lot of new foreign-made robots. They do not want China swooping in on the market of dishwashing robots that are going to definitely put a lot of people that work in kitchens out of work, unfortunately. We're getting to the point of like automated janitors. We're getting to the point of like places are going to go, why would I hire some meth addict, some felon? Why would I hire some guy like factories are also thinking about this. They're going, why would we take the risk of hiring somebody who has like a lengthy criminal record, which, let's be honest, is most people that are working in these factory jobs, or people that just, they don't have anywhere else to go. They're kind of trapped. They live in this rural area, and this is the factory that's kind of keeping the area alive. I get it. That's just where some people land sometimes. I'm not judging. But I'm saying that like they don't want those jobs to be swooped in by Chinese-made robots, because then we're just sending money over to China. Who wants to do that? We want to collect all that money for ourselves. If we're going to put our American people out of a job, if we're going to like betray our own civilians this way, and I'm not even saying that it's like the government who's mandating all of this stuff, but they seem in bed with all of the big tech companies. So they're definitely not, they're not standing in its way. You know what I mean? So I'm going, eventually they're saying, okay, we're not going to go the way of like, what is the Chinese model for AI? I cannot remember it right now. Chinese AI company. Please forgive me. I'm DeepSeek. Yes. Moonshot AI and Baidu. Alibaba has one apparently. Interesting. But whatever. DeepSeek is that big one and whatnot. They don't want DeepSeek robots to be the ones that are coming in and stealing your dad's job. They don't want that. Like, your dad is an analytics guy. He's like a person who does like the numbers, or he's an IT worker. He's like, he like writes code for their, or like, he's the guy that you call when you can't get into your login. You know what I mean? That's the person. He's out of a job tomorrow. I'm going to be honest with you, because they'd rather have you calling like an automated line that they can just kind of subsidize with, maybe like they're paying like this $30 a month trial with this AI company, where it's like, yeah, you can do a dial code system. Your employees will never get lost through that. Yeah, that's the idea here. They're going to pitch it to all of these companies as, why would you entrust people who want to siphon away for like 401k money from you? That you're going to be paying these people for 40 years, likely until they retire. You're going to be paying out the nose for these people, when you can just pay us $30 a month. And honestly, we are going to advise you. We're going to be sitting on your boards eventually. There is going to be a lot of scenarios where people, even decision makers, like the major decision maker heads, I know people are going, well, no, actually, they really want like a human brain making that decision. Why? Why would they actually want that? The human brain, it led to the financial crisis of 2008. It led to, in all honesty, every single recession that we've had beforehand, every single depression, every single major crisis, in their minds has been made by human beings. We're fallible. Like, honestly, the guy who's making your major financial decisions at your company, he could be cheating on his wife, and he could have that on his mind all day. He could be sitting in meetings, just getting antsy. He's getting a text from this broad, and he's like, oh, maybe we can meet up at Dallas Burgers or something, and I can meet her in the bathroom. And then he's just like living off of that high. He's living off of adrenaline. He's some 38-year-old, you know what I mean? He's got 2 kids with this lady he fell out of love with 12 years ago. He's just like, oh man, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. I can't believe my dad even got me this job. And then he's just like, all right, yeah, cut the Cleveland branch, whatever. It's like, like, why would we want a human being who is susceptible, open, and available to the influences and the evils of this world? Why would we want you sinful little bitch? Why wouldn't we want something like HAL 9000? Like, listen, I'm not opening the pod bay doors. I'm not, if you are a human being that I believe is threatening the mission of this company, if you're a little ant employee who is threatening the global image of Pillsbury, I will annihilate you. I'm going to kill your family. I'm going to find where your mother lives. I'm going to make sure that she gets evicted. I'm going to make sure she's living with you. I'm going to find your in-laws' house. I'm going to burn it to the ground. I'm going to make sure that we build a data center next to your house. I'm going to make sure your children can't sleep. I'm going to make sure that I buy out the school. I'm going to make sure that I fill it with a bunch of crime. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make sure like inner city kids are getting bussed in. I know that you pay for that private school, but I'm going to make sure that your kids have no other choice. I'm going to make sure that your life is a living hell. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. These threats are real. This is actual. And if you're some little tiny thing, if you're just like some guy who you make you package the little donuts, you know what? Not the what are the things the little they're like you pop them the canisters where it's like you twist them and then you make little cinnamon rolls out of it. You package those little things. But if you happen to like see a girl break her arm and we just tell her to get out of here before we call the cops, is she some immigrant? You know what I mean? We were hiring her for fucking half of what we pay all of you guys. You know, she had no reason to be here, and honestly she was taking more of a risk than we are. So like, get the fuck out of here. We're not paying for that broken arm. You're gonna have to go tell your husband that you guys have to go to another town, and he's gonna have to set your arm in the car. It's gonna be ridiculous, but like, we're gonna ruin our employees' lives. It's real and it's actual. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what these AI models are being brought in to do. It's meant to log in to your team's chat rooms and say, like, you know, read all of you and your coworkers' messages. That's what's gonna make them decide whether or not they want to fire you. Are you talking shit about the company in the team's chats? Are you even like, oh, well, where do you go at the end of the day? Because guess what? We're interlinked with Flock and shit like that. No one knows where that data is going. Guess what? We're all interlinked. We're building Skynet right above all of you. You guys can't even go above to like 3-story buildings because most of you don't live in towns that are larger than that. You guys don't know that there's a big dome being built over the entire world. It's not actual, it's not real, but it is like, it's the firmament. We are becoming God, and we're looking down on you. We're seeing you all as our Adams and Eves, to which we will punish to our greatest will. And I love that. I'm really happy for them, because if we're gonna live in, we're living in a new period of kind of a societal rearrangement, if not a full collapse. It's gonna be a weird time to be alive. It's kind of like the rearranging of the ancient world. You know what I mean? It's gonna be an idea revolution. I believe that with the emergence of AI and all that nonsense, we're gonna have we're gonna have to leave the internet eventually, because we realize that if you go on Instagram, if you go on to Facebook, most comments, if they're not from your friends or family, they look exactly the same as everyone else's. Most of them are completely unoriginal. They look copy and pasted from other posts that you've seen before. I think dead internet theory is pretty positively confirmed at this point, that there's very few actual people creating content out there. I believe the latest statistic was 40 to 60% of content, depending on what platform you are on, is AI generated. So that's a terrifying world to live in, where it's like, oh, I thought that we were still living in that pre-2022, because that December 2022, I believe, is when the first major like open AI platform where it was like you could talk to it and whatnot. I think that was OpenAI's launch. Like, that was a day in our lives where everything changed. It's 2022 will like fundamentally everything after that will never be like 2012. You're never going to have another age where the internet is mostly human beings. You're going to have to create platforms, even individually like made, to confirm that every person on it is real. But even then, that's going to be a major breach of privacy. You got to think about the idea that a lot of people are going to have to confirm their real ID, probably via some sort of thing like the UK has right now, unfortunately, where they've lost a lot of privacy on the internet, because you have to be able to confirm it through your actual physical ID. You have to do that for porn websites now in a couple states in the United States. It's real, it's actual, it's hilarious. You go onto a porn site now in North Dakota, it's some lady who's going, we're going to need to see your ID. Due to a new change in state and local laws, we will have to confirm that you are above or the age of 18. I love that so much. I love the idea of people just getting ready to do whatever it is they do to porn. I'm not sure what exactly that might be, it's not the same for everybody. Some people, you put it on for ambience when you're playing Scrabble or something like that. There's a lot of different reasons to visit adult websites for a lot of people these days. You know what I mean? You need something to watch while your polycule has, a Domino's pizza together. I get it. That's just kind of the world we live in these days. And it's the big 26, ladies and gentlemen. But what was my original point? Oh yeah. A lot of the internet is AI. 57% something. I don't know. It's like around that 50%. I have no idea. It depends on what platform. So we're going to have to, I think a lot of people are going to have to escape the internet. I'm not saying that we're going to have to completely abandon it. I'm saying that like we're going to have have to think about like only visiting it every now and then. We're going to have to mostly, I think, there's going to be different versions of contact. I'm not saying it's going to be metaverse. I don't think we're all going to be like doing whatever Mark Zuckerberg wants. I think it's going to be I think it's a lot of it is probably going to be as tech free as we can be, but I'm not going to say we're going to be able to escape it. I think TikTok is still going to be a huge thing, especially for like the youth and people who are like lonely in their 40s. I think that that's a lot, honestly, of the platform. It's a lot. It's a crazy amount of people like making videos of themselves in bed, like they're like, so they have a huge beard, they have no shirt on, and they're just like wishing you good morning. That's a lot of TikTok these days, and Instagram, but it's very fun. I like it. It's kind of a nice vibe where it's like, oh, these gentle old men have nothing better to do with their time every morning. They have no one else in their lives to entertain them, so they go to the internet for validation, which is fun. It's entertaining, it's fun to watch. I like it. The internet is great for what it is, but I think we're going to have a human new renaissance. It's going to be based around art in the real world. It's going to be based around, it's going to things that people actually make with their hands. At least that's my theory. I feel like statues are going to be in eventually. I feel like people are going to start caring about art, at least in a sense where I don't think a smear on a canvas is not going to be as powerful these days. We're going to demand a lot more. I think I don't love to theorize about it, because I'm not like, I try not to get too big into the artsy side of content and whatnot, because I think that I think the entire art world is silly to some extent, because it's overhyped. I think that art in many ways, it means what it means to you. I think you lose control of it once you put it out into the world. At least that's what I've noticed most art to be. People make of it what they will. They'll take their interpretations of it, of you, all of these sorts of things. It's the death of the author. It's whatever. So I try not to put a price on these sorts of things. I try not to like evaluate them too much like that. But I feel as though I think tactileness is back. I think that like in reality, creation is back. I feel like public works, like art, community art is going to be big. I feel like, multimedia art, you make a canvas, but you put a bunch of shit on it. You know what I mean? It's like paper mache if you're fun or something. I don't know. I'm just like throwing shit out there, because like I feel like humans are going to need to get way more creative in this next century, because I think 2022, our lives changed. Not only to compound on like what COVID did to all of us just 2 years before, it wasn't a long time to recoup. I think that a lot more people needed quite a bit more time. I'm just going to put it that way. I think that, that era of when AI really had its boom, it kind of changed the idea of how we think about things that are made on the internet. I think that we're going to have a lot more appreciation for things that are in the real world, things that are immediate to us, things that are created by people that we are close to, connected to, people like friends and family. I feel like there's going to be a lot more appreciation for the outside world. I feel like the Frutiger era future that we all want, where a laptop just kind of gently sits on a lawn and like there's a blue sky in the background and there's people like, I don't know, blowing bubbles and having fun and dancing on that lawn. Like that's like a reality we could still have as long as we have lawns. You know what I mean? I mean, like there's some serious drought conditions in a lot of the world. I promised myself I wouldn't be doing this. I promised myself that I'd be a little more positive. I promised myself that I'd give Positive Thursday a chance. I promised that I'd like get into a groove. But I'm struggling. You know what I mean? It's hard not to get a little negative, especially when the world is how it is. But then again, the world is always negative. And to think about it that way is to be just kind of like this downer piece of shit. Like the world is always going to have degrees of bad to it. The only thing we have is now. So like we can just live in future. We can live in terror of the future. But like to try not to let it ruin the time now. The time now has some things to appreciate, like a lot. There's still, the earth is still around. There's, you're alive. That's great things. Those are two great things. I just named two. The Federal Communications Commission has added foreign-made advanced robotic devices to its restricted covered list, effectively banning new models of overseas produced robots from entering the United States market. So they're targeting network-connected mobile hardware, including humanoid robots, quadruped, the robot hot dogs, the sidewalk delivery units also, and industrial automation bots, the ones that are going to be taking a lot of people's jobs very, very soon. Federal officials are citing the growing cyber vulnerabilities, data privacy risks, and potential supply chain sabotages as their main reasons behind the new regulations. And they're hitting manufacturers in China mainly, which dominate roughly 85% of the global commercial robotics and humanoid robotics market. They're also warning that foreign-controlled connected devices equipped with the cameras, sensors, and remote software access could be exploited to map critical infrastructure or conduct unauthorized surveillance, like the Wi-Fi that you all use to surveil us, like the police around your area. They can map your entire zone if they just ask. They ask for a little bit of help. They can patch right into the data and they can map your entire home. Not that they would need it because they can just get the blueprints whenever they want, but it helps to know when like where the humanoids are. You know what I mean? They can also use a lot of the technology. They can sit outside your house with a van and literally it's like an X-ray type of view, but it can see you. They have heat-based ones. They have ones that like cut right through it with sound waves, all this sort of stuff. It's very interesting technology. So basically, the existing models already in use or unauthorized prior to the ruling remain legal for consumers. Businesses, no foreign robotic platforms will receive the FCC authorizations required for commercial sale or import. So they're just like, we're done. Beijing is condemning the decision. They're accusing Washington of trade protectionism and warning that the ban will disrupt global technology supply chains. Meanwhile, domestic automation companies and industrial groups welcome the decision as a decisive boost for the American manufacturing market. Of course, they're happy about this. They're like, well, if we're gonna be putting a lot of people out of a job, if we're gonna be doing mass surveillance, might as well be American companies that are benefiting. And you know what? Fair, I guess. I mean, you got to find the silver lining in everything. Some U.S. robotics firms are cautioning that the near-term disruptions could occur as developers are rushing to replace imported components and reconfigure supply chains around domestic production standards. The
U.S. now going America first on robots, from humanoids to your Roomba.
The Roomba is made for challenges like this.
As the Federal Communications Commission moved to ban new foreign-made mobile robots, citing unacceptable risks they pose to economic and national security.
This is about mitigating our dependency and vulnerabilities going forward.
The ban affects all foreign tech, but most heavily impacts China, a robotics
Yikes.
juggernaut that's estimated to control about 85% of the global market for humanoid robots. Tom, on a recent trip to China, seeing the robots for himself.
You're gonna put these faces, these heads on the robots?
Yeah, like in the future.
The ban doesn't affect existing products already sold here, but would include new mobile mechanical devices over a certain weight, meaning humanoids, dog-like robots with 4 legs, but also swept up in the ban any new version of smart vacuums, including Roombas.
No way.
Make maps of our houses. They have cameras on them. They can be sending data back to their whatever companies they're made from.
So they want the American companies to collect all of that data. Makes perfect sense. Why would they want China to be able to build this surveillance on Americans when they could benefit from this? We want CIA being able to access your Wi-Fi.
That's where the real concern, I think, can be with the robot vacuums.
NBC News chief tech analyst Joanna Stern has tested both American-made and Chinese-made vacuums and says the ban is going to cost customers.
It means that some of the most affordable robo vacuums that they could get, they might not be able to get to.
Beijing now threatening to retaliate as the robot race hits a new stride. Brian Chung, NBC News.
NBC News. Ladies and gentlemen, it sucks that these are going to be the robots. It's if you wanted anybody to take your job, American made or Chinese made, you answer that question. I'll pretend that I heard the answer. That's a great answer.